Hello everyone. It's almost 9:30 and let's get ready. I'll share my screen as well. Let me have my application running. This is my personal account. What I will do is maybe switch to guest. Okay, and okay, so let's wait for some time while I give others the chance to join in. So in this video, what I'm going to primarily do is in my last video I you know got into the position where the application was looking for all the URLs which we have and it was looping through them and raising events which would be then handled by the handler and it will make that curl call to check the status of that URL. And we also created a custom notification in the next video, and that notification what it was doing was obviously, as the name suggests, we were trying to get a mail notification and the Zulip notification, which I said that I will create a custom you know um, channel for that, and I will try to implement it. So obviously, I saw certain challenges. For example, I obviously can't show my Zulip installation, which we use in my office because there is so much client information and stuff. But I will show you the basic implementation, what I have done, the code which will execute, which will be executed and the message will be sent. I am sure that will give you a good idea of how a custom implementation can be made. And then a few niceties around, if I send a notification, if let's say an app is down, right, when you are sending notifications every minute, it doesn't make sense, because if you have sent an SOS notification, then the user is already quite tensed. He or she might be grappling around, trying to get that site up. There must be something wrong. So at that point, what we will do is change the flag somehow, so that once a failure notification has been sent, at least for now, we will have the ability to, um, we will give a feature that there is a flag which turns on, and so the notifications don't go one after the other every minute, and the user will go online and he or she can click on a button so that it resumes. So next time the flag, because the flag will be switched off, so again if it fails, then the notification will come through. Okay, let's see. Hey, hi Bhushan. Hi, thanks for joining. Hi Debjit. Use pusher or socket IO? No, not really. There's no need for real time communication in this, because if you um, if you visualize, what is going to happen is the entire process is an asynchronous process. There is a cron which runs every minute. It gets the list of all the URLs. It makes a curl call. If it fails, it sends a notification. Okay, that's the whole process, and then the notifications can be anything. So, right, and once the URL is up, the user will come back to our site and, let's just say, click a button so that the flag is turned off, and he resumes. Okay, so for those who have, I'll just try to refresh the code quickly. As I said, most of the code is on my web.php. We get all the URLs, we iterate through them, and we raise events. The event check URL is being listened by check URL listener. What it does is it first logs the URL, then it calls the check URL status from my check URL service. Okay, and this is the code. If we don't get a success, we notify. Okay, and the notify thing is quite simple. We find this unfortunate error user, sorry, who will get all the notifications, and then we send the actual notification. Now this is where our first level of modifications will be done. So in any notification, if you want to send any data from the notification class to the channel, what needs to be done is whatever you return from here, if it is a string or an array, right, you will get that inside the channel class. Okay, so what we can do over here is have a URL and message. So the URL is going to be quite straightforward. We are already getting the URL from, where is that, over here, right? So why don't we send that just in case if we need it, and let's just have a message SOS. The URL is not working, please check. So something like that. Okay, so this is my message. Now obviously I need to go to my channel, and there will be some code level changes required so that I can actually send the thing. So how do I get the message? What we can do is message equals, we get the notification, okay, and we call the method which is in here, which is to Zulip. Okay, and in here we send the notifiable thing. So the user, or the set of users who will receive the notification. This is something which you need to provide. Now let's just say first of all we will log the message. Log is clear, so why don't we go over here and see what happens. So far something is wrong, and yes, I mean one URL would have failed. So I can see that this object is available here, rather than the array is available, and the message which I had added in my URL failed notification class is now available to the channel as a message. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. Now in here, the Zulip implementation is, let me quickly see, Zulip API, ZULIP, Zulip API. I'll show you the basic idea of how you send messages. Okay, so REST API, we have REST API, that is all fine. Send message, and from here, if we go to curl, what do we see? So it's a post call, quite obvious. This is the URL, for example, whatever is your domain, right? Um, dot focalworks.in, that is what we are using. So our subdomains, focalworks.in, API v1 messages, that is going to be the URL. Then this is where the authentication happens. We create a bot user. The bot user is the email that will come in. The API key is something which we generate, very typical with any SaaS platforms that you use. Then these are some of the parameters. Type is stream. There are two types of streams in Zulip. Some are, I mean, one is a public stream, which is this, or you can send private messages. So in that case, you do this. Okay, then two is the stream where you are trying to send the message. This particular bot user should be part of that stream. And the topic is obviously how Zulip works is there is a stream, and inside stream you have multiple topics. And so I want to send to this stream, this topic, and this is my content. Okay, and this is how the message will be passed on. So I'll just write the code, because obviously, as I said, right, I can't show you the actual working. There is too much sensitive data over here. I'll be in trouble if I actually try to show something like that. Okay, what happened to my autocomplete? It is not working. Why? A bit weird. HTTP with options, which is fine. I will do this, but what just happened? Import class. It imported this. Okay, let me see. Will it start again, giving me the autocomplete? Okay, fine. So this is happening with options. So inside options, what I will do is URI. It's going to be config services dot Zulip. Let me see, services. Okay, this is a problem. What must have happened is I hmm, I have done a git reset, so some of the configurations have gone for a toss. The unfortunate command, which is NaH, but I'll basically show you what is going to happen. So the URL is going to be env, let's just say Zulip URL. Okay. Then user Zulip user. Sorry. Then let's just say we have the last one, which is API key. Zulip API key. Okay. And now I can do Zulip URL, and I will append the API slash v1 slash messages. Just happen. Okay, yes, this is fine with options. And so the base URI is created. For authentication, I'll do basic auth, and in here the first parameter is config Zulip user, comma config services Zulip API key. So it's getting a bit difficult to manage. Okay. Right, with basic auth. Now as form post, say, okay, in the post I need to get the URL, right? So maybe I'll do messages over here, and yeah, this should be fine. And quickly send the parameters, the post data which will be going. So stream to, let's just say, perfectionist is going to be the stream topic, stream events. This is going to be the topic, and the last one is content. Dollar message. What are we sending over here? Message. So fine, dollar message message. With this in place, what is going to happen is I will be able to send the notification for sure. Now obviously right now it won't work because The keys are not present, but I will show you how the message looks like. I have a screenshot of that. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm really sorry. This is how the Zulip interface looks. You can say it's a slimmed down version of Slack. Okay. Some of the functionalities are quite basic, and it doesn't have a very good calling service, but it's a very good uh, service when it comes to messaging. So it is working for almost 2.5 years now, and we are quite happy with what we get. But obviously, the calling is something which is missing. All right. So this is how it will look. The next stage is, let me comment this out, and obviously this message is coming. So as you can see, if I go to Chrome, I have one, two, three. Every failure will be logged. And as I told you, the user might already be in problem. He or she is facing that issue of the site not being running, so we want to stop it, right? So the one good way which I feel can we can do is, let's just say, again, this is something which we are going to change in our code base. Clear things out. Where is my database? I close config. What I'm trying to do is, in my database, right, for the URLs, I'll add one field called, um, let's just say, failing. Oops, not this one. Okay, failing. And it's false by default. I'm optimistic. So every URL which is being added, I would assume that they are not failing by default. Okay. And what we will do is, when it is failing, we will make it true. So let me first refresh my migration. Okay. What that would mean is, now I have these two flags, which is fine. And I will get rid of this inside my notification. Not actually the notification, it should be the handler. Where is my, rather, the listener, right? So the listener calls this service check URL status. If response is not okay, and ideally, if the URL failing is false. Now, I am sending the URL, which is a string. Now, I don't want to make a query. The easier option is we send the entire URL, right? So we can make certain kinds of changes. Let's go to web.php, and instead of URL, then the URL property, I can simply send the entire URL. Then what I will do is, in this event, instead of this being a string, it will be of type URL. Correct? No changes over here. Now the listener for this event, where is our listener? This, oops, what just happened? The event check URL is of type URL, which is fine. And then inside the listener, right, this URL which I'm sending over here. Okay, this listener doesn't have any changes, but in here, this function will now expect a URL model again. So the curl call needs to be the URL property rather than $URL, and notify on error. Notify on error will be what? I think in here again I'll have to do just the URL. Okay, because it doesn't make sense for me to just send the string. I can keep things simple over here, and inside here, instead of string, I'll do URL. So the notification is also getting the URL. Quite a few changes. I understand it can be a little confusing, but um, it's fine. I mean, if we want to make those changes, it is required. So fine. So far, so good. I think this should work. Let us quickly check if anything is failing or we are generally good. I think I had cleared the log. Okay. In one place, we are, I think this is the URL checker service, right? Right. No, this is here. The listener. Where is my listener? Okay, logger URL. Yes, I need to do this at least so that I just want to see the URL. Now it should work. I changed everything and I forgot about that. So yes, this is the URL point 0.7, sorry, 0.07, point 0.3, and generally things are in place. Yeah, be with me. The refactoring is done. Now, what we will do is in here, we will change the model. What we will do is, because we have the URL, we will set the failing to true and we will save. So then what happens is, let me clear the file. Yes, it is cleared on first attempt. It, okay, it will not print the notification. I know why. Where is my notification? URL listener. Hold on a bit. Notification is here. Where is my service? URL checker. Right. So in here, the checker will be saying if response is not okay and URL failing is false. Okay. If it is false, only then we will send the notification. So it sends for the first time. Is my log file clear? No. So this time, print, it should have failing is false. What am I doing wrong over here? This is the URL. By default, it is false, right? So URL failing, if it is false, then I will notify, which is the correct thing. And in the notification, this is my Zulip channel, and in the channel I do have the logger, right? Yes. So the message should ideally come, but it is not happening. Why? Is the notification not getting triggered? Let me see. This is fine. I can get rid of the migration. Let me know if you guys are able to understand where maybe I'm going wrong, but so let's quickly see. This is the handler. This log is coming, and hence we get this. Okay. Oops, sorry. This is the listener. So we can do something like actually make this easy. Listen URL. Fine. And then inside here, I make a call if response not okay. What is the URL? Ah, I understand what is happening, but I'm just surprised what happened. Okay, okay, fine. I get it. I think I had reset the database, so the URL which is there is a correct URL. So how is it going to fail? I'm really sorry. Um, Now things should be in place. Let's see. We should have failures now. Right. Failing. Interesting. So argument one, which is URL checker notify on error, must be of type URL string given. Okay. URL checker. Right. Notify on error. Fair enough. Yeah. This is fine. Now what? Should work. Okay. So let me clear out the log, but first see what do we have. I think it's printing the entire model, which is not the best thing. Right. So let's come over here. It still isn't going over here. I feel so. Why is it doing that? Um, up, and URL failing. So I wonder what is happening. So my log time came in, okay, and then is it not coming over here? See, okay, the failing is one. That thing came up, which was the correct thing to do. So why is the notification not coming? So is it right? So it came over here, 1, 2, 3. Let's quickly look at that. So inside our notification, sorry, um, we are sending this, right? So URL checker 1, 2, 3 is here. It gets the URL object, which is fine. I send the URL failed notification, private URL, okay, and this is my thing. So this message should have actually reached me in the log file. Okay. Now I understand what is happening. So by mistake, where is my notification? This URL I hadn't changed. So it was failing. Rather, not failing, it was printing the entire model. Right. So live coding and create a little bit of a problem. Okay, fine. Everything is working as it should. And now if I refresh this time, I shouldn't get the notification, obviously, because it will not send that failing notification till I go here and get it back to zero, which can be by any means, which right now is not important. What is important is the flag is being respected. So whenever the flag is set to 1, my notification logic will be skipped, which is over here. Correct? And that's something which will stop the spamming of notification emails or pings which can come into that, either Zulip or email if I choose to. But additionally, what I would also like to do is, at any instance, if I have a failure, we should keep a track in the database. So I'll quickly do that, and maybe then I'll stop the stream for today, because what how much time have we spent over here? Let me see. 9:30 I started. Okay, it's 59. It's almost half an hour is gone. So yeah, I think beyond that it will be difficult to digest also at the entire thing for users who are looking at the video later on. So let's do a little uh, quicker things. I want to make a model with a migration. The name of the model will be URL failure. Okay, let me go over here. Inside the failure, what we will do is we will have a table foreign ID for URL class. Keep an index for that, makes things a little bit easier. Okay, and what else? Maybe straightforward, go into the model. Model is in here, protected, fillable. Do I see the table? Sorry, DND. Where is it? What happened? I am surprised. This is fine. I think I merged the second tab into my first tab. Looks like a drag and drop works. Okay, so URL ID is something which should be fillable, because what I'm going to do is, before I do this, I will have URL failure model create URL ID. So, and let's try to test it out. So URLs failing is 0. Let me hit that, and now it has turned to 1. URL failure, only 1 is being logged. And then let's just say some time passed by, it was set to 0 again, and after a few hours maybe, it again generated an error. So it came back to 1 and the failure was recorded. So 26 to 45. Great. So this is what I wanted to cover. Um, what I will do is, have a cron maybe which runs every 5 minutes and looks for URLs which are in the state of failing, and it resets them, so that after 5 minutes the application will retry them. So if, and then we can set that time, it doesn't really matter, but after that, if the website is still not up, you get a few messages, and that's something which I feel is a decent enough thing to do, because uh, someone, if has missed the notification, maybe a second notification is useful with that thing. And obviously we will record every incidents when that site failed, so that we have the ability to track back and check how many times this URL had failed in, let's say, last 5 months or so, you know, things like that. So yeah, that's about it, guys. If you have any questions, I'm open to them. I'll wait for a few minutes, and after that we can close out the session. In the meantime, let me commit my code. Let's see, what do we have over here. Unrevisioned files, URL failure. Right, this is fine. Migrations, I can close all the tabs, and I don't think there are still any questions, which is then fine. But quickly, let's simplify this. Okay, it's fine. There's a new column over here, which is okay, good to go. What is this? Model, yes, this is fine. The message changed, no major changes. Yes, I had changed the URL of the seeder so that I get a failing thing. This is fine. URL checker. Yes, this is where a lot of code has changed. This is fine again. Notification string to URL. And yes, this is the message. No problem here. .php. This is the only change. Zulip channel. This is added. Okay, I'll add the code formatting hook, and in the meantime, where is my channel? The code which is commented, get that back. Is HTTP still here? Yes. This is why I generally run through the code once before I commit. These things are easy to then catch. Worked on new notification logic, Zulip notification as well. Commit and push. This is done. All right, so no questions. So thank you everyone for joining. If you like this video, do click on the thumbs up icon and don't forget to subscribe to my